Okay, make another video. I noticed that on my videos, I think the average watch time is like 2 or 3 minutes, which I think is hilarious. So if you get through this whole thing, good on you. The first album that I bought in September 2017, this is again when I went to my trip to Michigan. This is going to be Pop Records. And this one I bought, it is the Chiffons greatest hits. I'm going to start from oldest to newest as far as dates are concerned, release dates. This is a greatest hits. This came out, it actually came out in 81, but you know, all the songs on here are from 63 to 65, basically, or 66. Interesting thing about the Chiffons is that the one thing that I found out was the one song on here, I think it's He's So Fine. Yeah, George Harrison got sued by these guys because his song, which was My Sweet Lord, they claimed that, you know, I guess it was close enough in, you know, the melody. And I think he settled out of court for that issue. Yeah, and they said that he said that he unintentionally borrowed the melody, which, you know, I think can happen. You know, that I could actually believe that, but you know, you never know, right? So yeah, this came out on RCA. It's actually mono. You look there, yeah, it's the mono version. So that's kind of cool. Which I don't even know. 63 to 65. I mean, 66, mid 60s they were doing stereo, but you know, I'm sure a lot of these singles that came out around that time were probably, you know, everything was probably recorded in mono. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there was a stereo version of this particular release either, but this is really good. Of course, I like all the girl groups. He's So Fine, One Fine Day is on here. Tonight I Met an Angel, that's a good song. Sweet Talking Guy was a good hit, was a big hit. My Boyfriend's Back. I don't know if that was their original song or not. Yeah, really good stuff here for the Chiffons. That was one of the first records I picked up. Next record I picked up is another anthology, came out from 1986. And this one is Leslie Gore. This is a Rhino release. It's really cool. It has some really cool liner notes in here from a guy named Vic Tripp, The Cool and the Crazy Show, KCRW LA. And she looks a lot like Gillian Anderson in that picture, doesn't she? I noticed that when I was listening to this. I actually listened to this one yesterday. And there's a funny little thing in here that they talked about that's in here that I wanted to read. He talks about the best pop records usually are collaborative. They have long-lasting magic. The singer, arranger, producer, musicians, the hippest records always have hand claps. Think about it. Be My Baby, Mickey's Monkey, Do You Love Me? Fully 75% of the Leslie Gore tracks assembled here have hand claps. I think that's really important for the girl groups stuff. You got to have your hand claps in there. And if you listen to this, it's interesting because the first record of this is basically all her her older stuff, and most of her hits are on the first record. The second record is kind of starts at 65, from 1965 to 68, which is interesting too. All these singles, the arrangement of all the songs are in order of release, which they don't always do that. At least not a lot of the compilations that I have do that. So I like that they do that. You know, if they can do that with the time constraint, you know, the songs and stuff like that, without messing up the, you know, having one side be too long or whatever. I like them being able to do that. But yeah, hand claps are important. And Leslie Gore, I talked about her before. She is one of my favorites. And yeah, again, this is a Rhino release from 80, I think it was 85. No, 86. Yeah, so I'm sure like it might have been probably every 2 or 3 years an anthology would come out for Leslie Gore or any name any girl group really, or just a compilation of a bunch of songs from that era. All right, the next album came out. This one actually came out in 1967. This is the fourth studio album from Nancy Sinatra, and this is Sugar. She's wearing her bathing suit there, and with what's his name, Lee Hazelwood, who wrote and produced pretty much all of her songs, or at least a lot of the original songs from here. And Sugar, I was reading, is I guess it's a song about LSD. You know, you never would really know unless you knew, I suppose. But yeah, and this was one of her, I guess, you know, less critically acclaimed records. This one didn't get as many good reviews. It's pretty, I still like it though. I mean, you know, a lot of covers, of course. Sweet Georgia Brown, Oh You Beautiful Doll, I think was a cover, but Sugartown was one of the originals. And yeah, I think it's a decent record. I like listening to this stuff. I have Boots as well. Boots is a good record, and I'm still looking for the one with Bang Bang on it. I forget what it's called, but it's like in the form of a question, the album. And yeah, this is an original press from 67 on the Reprise label. The pink, the green, the yellow Reprise. Yeah, pretty good album. It's all right. This next album came out September 1980, so we're going to go straight to 1980, right from the 60s to the 80s. And this one came out September 5th, 1980. It's the second studio album from Gary Newman. And it's Telecon. And this album's just okay. I really like The Pleasure Principle. I think I like that album a lot better. This is the second album from him, and I guess there's one more called Dance that's supposed to be in the same vein. I might actually listen to it before I buy it, but I don't know if I'm going to buy any more Gary Newman. I like the Pleasure Principle album, but this album in particular is not my favorite. There's some okay songs on here. There's a song on here called I Dream of Wires that was used in pop culture a couple times. It was used in I guess a fake documentary and as a band name, and you know, some other stuff, but it's okay. It's really slow paced record. Like all the songs are, it doesn't have that 80s sound that I like, you know, that, I don't know, just like the pop sound that I like the first album. I just think it's okay. It's really slow paced. There's not a lot of energetic songs on here, and they're really minimal too. Like even instrumentation, there's not a lot going on. It didn't do that well. It did okay in the UK, but none of these songs charted in the US at all. And this is on this is the US press on Atco, and yeah, it didn't really do much in the US at all. So anyway, now this record, I like this record a lot. This is a fun record. This came out June 29th, 81. It's the first album from Kim Wilde. This is the one with Kids in America on it. This is her self-titled. It's funny because they put these band members back here, and I don't know that any of these guys are actually in the band. They might be, but they kind of put these guys on the cover to make her seem more legitimate, I guess. That's what I read. It seems interesting that they did that. But this album is actually really good. Her dad and her brother wrote pretty much all these songs on here. Martin Wilde, and I think it's Randy Wilde. What's his name? Ricky Wilde. And the band called the Enid is the band that backed him up. I don't even know if it's those guys, but they said they didn't get paid pretty much anything to do this record, which is interesting. But this album is really good. Kids in America, Water on Glass Art. Every song on here is really good. I put Everything We Know on the, I'm going to create a playlist. I put that Everything We Know on the playlist. If you listen to that song, I could have put one of the hits, but I really like that song on here. It's really good. But I like all the songs on here. This is an album which just has a lot of good hooks on it. It's very melodic, and it's a fun record. This is the kind of 80s record that I like. If you listen to this, then you'll know, like, at least kind of the sounds that I like. I really like all the, I really like the hits, you know, with really good melody. And this is on the EMI America label. Really good record. You can find that. I can't imagine paying more than $5 for that. Next one is July 20th, 82, the second album from the Go-Go's. This album is good. Beauty and the Beast, I think, is better, but this album is pretty good. This album gets better the more you listen to it, I think. The hit on here was Vacation. There was another song on here that kind of charted, Get Up and Go. That's the one I put on the playlist. Vacation is just overplayed. But yeah, the Go-Go's, I mean, they were on drugs. They were not getting along. If you get a chance to watch the Go-Go's documentary, it's really, really good. I had watched it about a year ago or a couple of years ago on Amazon, and I don't know if it's still free on there, but it's a really, really good documentary. It really, they really tell all in it, I feel. You know, the drugs, the hard times, the infighting of the band, the money problems, because like Weiland and the other girl, I think Weiland mostly, wrote a lot of the songs on the record, on all their albums, and she got all the publishing rights. And yeah, so she was making most of the money from the albums. Kathy's the other girl. Yeah, so those two were making tons of money on the albums, and the other girls weren't making much at all because they didn't have publishing at all. You know, they didn't split everything evenly. But anyway, this is a good record. It's a good pop, kind of a power pop record. I put Go-Go's into power pop. They're kind of a bit of a punk pop, kind of, you know. So they kind of fit in that, I think. Anyway, this is the Go-Go's. It's a good record. It's not great. Beauty and the Beast is better. But these songs do grow on you after a while. It just takes more listens because, you know, they're not immediately, you know, great songs like Vacation. You know, most of them take a few listens for you to, I guess, for them to catch on. You know, like I have to listen to this record a few more times for me to start enjoying a lot of the songs on it. But I do like this record. It's not as good as Beauty and the Beast. This is another record that was kind of disappointing to me. This is the Rhythmic Touch. Came out in November 14th, 83. This is their third album. And this album is just okay, I thought. It has two hits on it. Here Comes the Rain and Who's That Girl? Both those songs are excellent. It's just the rest of the songs are kind of like mid-pace. They're not really high energy pop, which is more what I like, or really catchy. I just think this album is okay. I know it gets really good reviews, you know, so I just don't know why it isn't for me. But anyway, it's an okay record by the Eurythmics. And those two songs are really good, those two hits. And this one came out on the RCA Victor. So anyway, I just think that record's okay. But the next one, this one is Be Yourself Tonight by the Eurythmics. This album is really good. I enjoy this one a lot more. I'd pick this one up. I still need to listen to the first one a little bit more with Sweet Dreams on it. But that'll come up in a later video. I ended up buying that one was actually harder to find for me. These two records were a lot easier. You know, I would see these all the time, and I finally just found them for like, you know, $5 or whatever, so I picked them up. But this one has Would I Lie to You, which is really good. I think that's the only hit. No, this one has Would I Lie. Oh, that's right. This one has Would I Lie to You. This also has I can't remember what the other hits were on here now all of a sudden, but Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves has Aretha Franklin singing on it, which is really good. There's another song on here, Adrian, with Elvis Costello singing on here, which I thought was really cool. So they got a lot of collaboration, you know, from different artists on this one, which I thought was cool. You know, I didn't, you know, like a lot of these records I bought and I didn't listen to a ton, but I'm listening to them more now. You know, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, you know, so I can really get into some of these records and figure out how much I like them or dislike them. Because I was just buying like crazy. I was buying everything that I wanted, and then I just would listen to it just a couple times and be like, okay, file it away, next thing. I'm kind of doing that now still, but now that I'm going through and listening to all these again for these videos, and that's kind of what, you know, I mean, I know nobody's watching these all the way through probably, but the reason I'm kind of doing this for myself too, so I get a chance to, you know, really listen to these albums again, and just really pay attention to them a little bit more. But I like this Eurythmics record better than Touch. This one is Be Yourself Tonight. Really good record. I would pick that one up over the other one if you see it. And they didn't, the one thing I read is they didn't tour for this record because Annie Lennox had vocal nodules, which I know happens to a lot of singers, and they have to take time off. So from what I read, they didn't even tour for this record, at least not right away, you know, or they might have, you know, took all touring off and then made another record and toured with that one. But, and this is a really good record. I like this record. Most of the songs on here are more high energy, you know, more poppy songs than ballads, and I don't know, it's just a better record. Now here's one that's kind of a stinker. This one came out in 1984. This has one good song on it, and the song was written, this is, I'll just show it to you. This is In Emotion, and the song on here is Obsession. That's like the best song on here. All the rest of the songs on here aren't that great, I don't think. They're just okay. I really didn't, nothing really popped out while I was listening to this, but I did find out that Michael DeBar's actually wrote the song, or at least co-wrote the song Obsession, and he was on MacGyver. He played Murdoch on MacGyver. So I had no idea. I did not know that until I started, you know, looking up stuff for this record. But anyway, Obsession is the best one. If you get a greatest hits for In Emotion, that's probably the best way to go. It's not great, I don't think. This record came out February 14th, 85. This is Whitney Houston, and this is her self-titled album. I don't know which album this was, if it was her first. It might have been her first record. I didn't put like which record it was for her for that one. On some of these I didn't. Normally I've been doing that, I just didn't for this batch. But this album is really good. It's mostly ballads though, so like there's a song, the song How Will I Know is on here, which is a really good song. That's a really upbeat song. But almost every other song on here, the other two hits on here, is it Saving All My Love and Greatest Love of All? Those were the other big hits on here, and those were, you know, those were just ballads to the max, of course. And pretty much all the other songs on here are ballads. There may be one other upbeat song, and I like her upbeat stuff a little bit better. But the ballads on here that were hits were really good. And this album ended up selling like 22. It sold to date 22 million copies. I mean, it's ridiculous. 4 Grammy nominations in '86 for this. Lots of ballads. Yeah, it's a good record, but it's just okay. And it's on the Arista. And I have the other Whitney Houston album. That'll be coming up in a later video, so give me a chance to listen to that one again. I think I got this really cheap. I think I got that for like $5 or something. It was just, something to fill in the collection, and then, for my 80s stuff. And I didn't realize how many ballads were on it. I was just like, when I was listening to it, I was like, wow, there's a lot of ballads on here. And okay, next record came out April 20th, 85. It's the first studio album from the band Till Tuesday. And this is Voices Carry. This album has the only single that charted really was Voices Carry. And it did really well. It won like MTV Award, Best New Artist. But really the best part of this band is Amy Mann. I love Amy Mann's stuff now. Like the stuff that she did the solo stuff she does is fantastic. I just love Amy Mann as an artist. She has one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time, Bachelor Number 2, or The Last Remains of the Dodo. That album. That is one of my favorite albums. That's in my top 10 of all time records. So I really like Amy Mann. But these songs are just okay, honestly, for a first album, for a debut. I guess it's not bad. And there's some good songs on here, but it's hit or miss, this record. I guess I kind of just have to be in the mood to listen to it. Voices Carry I can listen to all the time. I really still like that song even today. It's a good song. And like I said, I'm a hits guy. I'm not sometimes some bands I really like the deep cuts, but a lot of my pop stuff I really like the hits. And we'll be getting into some records here soon that I like all the songs or most of them, and I feel like it's just the types of songs that they are, or how they're written. Maybe it's just because they're similar. They're all I don't know. Maybe I just like a certain style of 80s pop. But this album's all right. Love in a Vacuum is good. That's really the only song, and besides Voices Carry, that really kind of stuck with me. And Love in a Vacuum is a weird song. It has an interesting chorus to it. It's an interesting song. You should check that one out if you haven't heard it. But of course, I'm sure everybody's heard Voices Carry. Now this album is really good. This album came out '85. It didn't have a release date. This is, and man, I bought this just based on the cover alone. This is Luscious Dame and The Pretty Vain. This is More Than You Can Handle. And More Than You Can Handle. And the title song on here is really great. This is the kind of pop music I like. Now, this album wasn't even on Spotify, so you're just going to have to, if you want to hear any of this, you're going to have to, find it on YouTube or whatever. But Luscious Dame she's kind of like a Vanity type. I think Motown was trying to do something like that. I don't want to, at least that's what I read. I don't think that every, black artist like this that came out at the same time should be compared to Vanity, but it really has a Prince sound to it, like a Prince production sound to it. I would have thought that it came from, a Prince studio. So it's kind of a knockoff of that style and that type of sound. So if you've heard like Vanity or even Prince, there are even some songs on here that kind of have melodies that are pretty close to stuff that Prince has done, or maybe even Vanity has done. But I recognize some of the stuff, because I know I never heard any of the songs except for on this album. Of these songs, I've never heard them before, but some of them were recognizable. But this is actually a fun record, and if you ever find this, I found this just in the bins. It's a promo, so I don't know. From what I read, the song didn't chart, didn't hit. It's kind of a one-off, and she never really did anything after this. So this is just one of those lost in the wind, one record artists. but it's actually really good. There's some really good songs on here. It's good all the way through. Yeah, there's a couple ballads on here that are good, but it has more of the up-tempo stuff, which I really like. So if you get to check this out, check it out. It's kind of cool. It's a cool record. I like it. All right, the next record came out March 24th, 86. It's the first studio album. Pet Shop Boys, Please. That's what they wanted people to say when they went and bought the record. I'd like Pet Shop Boys, Please, which is the name of the record, Please. And everything is really tiny on here, so I don't know what the point of this was. There's a lot of theories about, this is the size of a 35 millimeter negative. CDs were coming out at this time, so pictures were smaller. They might have been commenting on that. There's a lot of theories out there. I don't know if Pet Shop Boys ever came out and said, hey, this is exactly why we did it. But they also have a bunch of collage here of photos that are the same size, 35 millimeter negative size, which might be what they were going for. Who knows? Only they do. I don't know if they ever confirmed it, but this is a really good record. Like, if you like that Stranger Things 80s sound, this is that record. This is a record that will scratch that itch, for that the type of synthesizers and the synth. If this is more synth pop stuff, I think it would fit more into that category. And this has some really good songs. West End Girls is on here. Opportunities, Let's Make Lots of Money is really good. Violence is a really good song. Yeah, those songs I would check out in particular. But this is a really good record. I enjoy this album a lot when I was listening to it just now, before making this video during this week. Very, very good synth record, And like I said, this has the 80s sound that I like a lot. So this is the only Pet Shop Boys record I have. I should probably see if, pick up some more maybe, but this one is really good. All right, just a few more records to go. Exposure is the next record. This came out March 2nd, 87. It's their first album. This record did really well. This one, again, this is another one that in the Pet Shop Boys style of I keep saying high energy, but more like pop stuff that I like. This is a really good record. Exposure. This has Come Go With Me, Make You Feel Right, and then Let Me Be the One is another one. Point of No Return is the one that I put on there on the playlist. And yeah, this is just a fun record. Exposure. Pick this one up. It had 4 top 10 singles. Great record from the 80s, reminiscent of Madonna and other pop music of the time. Whole album is great. That's what I wrote on here. And this one is on Arista. Yeah, this is a good album. I've only seen this one a few times too. The first time I saw it, I picked it up. I just grabbed it immediately. I was like, I know these songs. And I think I only saw it a couple times since. My copy's a little beat up. My spine is a little beat up, but I don't care. It's got some ring wear too, but the record plays great. Exposure, Expose, really good record. Next one is Lisa and the Cult Jam. This is Spanish Fly. This came out January 1st, 87, and this is their second studio album. The album was produced by Full Force, which if you've heard, obviously if you heard this album, Full Force kind of has a sound, a unique sound for their production. Lots of drums, lots of bass, but still, and lots of beats. The beats are really good on here. And this has Head to Toe on it and Lost in Emotion, which were the 2 singles on here. This is a really cool record. I actually like this record. And Full Force did the album. They did Samantha Fox, 2 albums from Samantha Fox as well. So if you've heard Naughty Girls Need Love Too, that sound, like the production sound of that song, is what this album sounds like too. It's really good. It's kind of minimalistic, but it's still really good. Oh, the other song on here, that Playing with Fire, like the song that ends the album, is really good. That could have been a single, I felt, when I was listening to that. It's really good. Um, yeah, if you see this album, pick it up. It's usually really cheap. I think I've seen this album for just a few bucks a couple times. So, nowadays it's probably like $5 or $10. But, if you like that full force sound, Samantha Fox stuff, pick this up. It's really good. All right, the last record is September 15th, 87, the first studio album from Tiffany. Tiffany was basically, she didn't become obviously as big as Taylor Swift, but she kind of started out the same way. She was doing country before she got found by a producer. And that producer put her in the studio, wrote her a bunch of pop songs and a few covers, and that's what blew her up. The first single on this record, though, Danny, it's interesting. The first single, Danny, on this record is actually a good song. I like that song, but it completely flopped as a single. That's where they came up with the idea. They're like, we got to get you out there somehow. You're not going to sell out any, clubs or anything like that. So let's just put you in the mall. Let's just go to malls across America. We'll do like a mall tour, which is kind of genius, like it was a really good marketing thing, like if you're hanging out at the mall, Robin Sparkle style, let's go to the mall. Which, if you're hanging out at the mall and all of a sudden a live band starts playing and it's Tiffany, that could intrigue a lot of people, I think, especially how many people were at the mall in the 80s. Now malls are, I wouldn't want to say they're dead, but, people don't go there to hang out as much as they used to. I don't know. I'm not a kid anymore, so I don't know. Maybe kids do fucking go to the mall. I have no idea. But anyway, this is a good record. It has Should Have Been Me is good. Danny, Spanish Eyes. Every song on here is pretty good. I Saw Him Standing There, of course. Johnny's Got the Inside Moves. That song's all right. Promises Made is good. I Think We're Alone Now, of course, was the big hit. And Could Have Been was another hit. There was always a rivalry, or at least a perceived rivalry, between Tiffany and Debbie Gibson. I think Debbie Gibson had the superior songs. She had less cover songs, actually, more originals, even if they weren't hers, written by her, but they were written for her. Whereas Tiffany's hits, besides Could Have Been, which was an original, were, covers. But Tiffany's still playing music today, just like Debbie Gibson. I think Debbie Gibson has a Vegas show, so she's in Vegas. Tiffany, I don't think is doing it. I think Tiffany should open for Debbie Gibson in Vegas. I think that'd be a great fucking idea. I don't know why that's not happening, especially with her new stuff, because she kind of went rock, like her new stuff. I listened to a couple songs. They're just all right, I guess. But anyway, this album is actually good. It's not a terrible record. I don't have it for irony. I do listen to it and I enjoy it, and it came on the MCA Rainbow labels. So yeah, this is my pop pickups for September 2017. I'm still buying 80s pop records to this day. I really like that sound. It really reminds me of watching MTV during the day in the 80s, like Madonna, like the early 80s stuff. I think I like more, seeing Pet Shop Boys, Rhythmics, all that stuff. I even though metal is metal is the thing that I love, I still have kind of a soft spot for some of this pop music from the 80s mostly. And the 60s girl groups. I really, really, really love the 60s girl groups. And that was because when I was a kid, one of my first cassettes that I ever had that my mom bought me was a compilation of, I think it was 2 cassettes, and it had all these 60s pop, 60s groups on it. It had Last Kiss, which was my favorite song in the world as a kid. I guess that's why I kind of got dark, got into metal. That Last Kiss song was fucked up, man. Like, it's about a guy who gets in a car accident with his girlfriend, and she ends up dying in the car accident with him. Or he doesn't die, he survives. And, he kisses her one last time, and then she's dead. Pearl Jam actually redid that song. So, I'm not saying, we have the exact same taste in music, but we have the exact same taste in that song. any better. So anyway, 60s girl group stuff I really like. 80s pop music I like. That's what most of this stuff is. Anyway, if you made it this far into the video, great. Most people aren't. But anyway, metal will be the next. It's probably going to be a couple weeks. I've got to listen to a ton of metal records. Got to get through these, you know, so they're a little bit fresh in my mind. Anyway, thanks. Bye.